I wasn't expecting to relive my messy 20s, but here we are. Hello, welcome to this video. My name's Dan, aka Lucien. I'm a singer-songwriter, music producer person. And today I'm going to be reacting to Bury Me at Makeout Creek by MITSKI. Let's go. So, I love MITSKI. You converted me. It took a while. I had a few MITSKI reactions requested over on Patreon. I did Laurel Hell and I don't know, I didn't get it. I think now I know that MITSKI's albums just need a little bit of time. You know, they're not maybe as instantly accessible as some albums. And so I think I was kind of put off at the beginning, but then when I went back and did Be the Cowboy after a lot of you were asking for it, I actually started realizing the genius and started really understanding why people think that she's so good. And then with The Land Is Inhospitable, I then reacted to that and just was blown away, loved it so much. And since then, it seems like the rest of the world has caught on, and MITSKI's My Love, Mine or Mine has been charting. I think it got to number 6 in the UK, which is bonkers for an alternative act. Even some of the biggest alternative acts like Lana don't chart like that. So it's pretty amazing for MITSKI to be up there and doing so well. So I'm very pleased for her. But yes, so I'm going to continue on the MITSKI discovery journey. I know the earlier albums were university projects or something, so let me know if you want me to react to those too. But at the moment I'm going to do Bury Me at Makeout Creek, and then I'll do Puberty 2 at another date. But yeah, if you want to hear more, let me know. Before we get started, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to check out my old MITSKI videos. And if you have been following the channel and you want to support me even further, you can do over on Patreon, where you can actually watch this video completely uncut. I'm doing loads of stuff like live streams. There's a cute little community going on over there. There's a Discord. And in the upper tiers, you can actually request specific song or album reactions from me. You can even follow the Patreon for free and still be part of the community. So make sure to click the link in the description. Even if you just want to follow for free, then you can still stay up to date and still be part of the team, part of the crying club, as we call ourselves. Well, as I've called us. But yeah, cool. So the title of the album, Bury Me at Makeout Creek, is giving me a sense of Makeout Creek being teenage romance, right? Dream kind of teenage romance. And if you're buried there, it's you want to live inside that kind of youthful romance forever or die, lol. It's you want to stay there forever, you know? So maybe it's going to be to do with growing up, trying to kind of transfer your love from teenage romance onwards, or maybe wishing that it could stay as simple as it is when you're a teenager, you know? Yeah, we'll see. The first song is Texas Reznicoff.
It's beautiful today. I wish you could.
She sounds younger.
Tell me about when you'd sense that
I love the quiver that she's got in her voice here.
It's a little bit far away.
And it's also so much more lo-fi.
Make it anywhere.
Her voice is beautiful in this.
Been anywhere and it's not what I want. I wanna be still with you.
Ah. Oh! Okay, not so lo-fi anymore. Oh my god. She's even got the surprising stuff still at this point, you know? It's giving me Geyser. Yeah. Cool. So it's definitely giving me shades of Geyser. Sorry. Let me just sort my hair out. It's definitely giving me shades of Geyser, that kind of build up into the big moment. But this one's much more kind of it feels much more lo-fi, feels much more she's limited as to what instruments she has, you know? It's she's got an acoustic guitar and it's very raw, very unedited, you know? You can hear all the in the guitar, you know? Very imperfect, which is quite, I think, done on purpose. And then heavy distortion, heavy guitars, smacks you in the face. So it has that kind of dynamic moment, which is something that she seems to love to do at the beginning of an album. But yeah, definitely a more kind of down-to-earth version of that. It's beautiful out today. I wish you could take me upstate to a little place you would tell me about. When you sense that I want to escape, you make it there, and you make it anywhere. Obviously, that's the New York reference. Such a great turn of phrase to say you can make it anywhere. And she's I've already been anywhere, but I want to lay down my roots, and I want to be with one person and make a home. You know, you're the breeze in my Austin nights. Yeah, so when she's hot, they cool her down, and when she's not, they warm her up, you know? Yeah, so it's giving me like a sense of yearning. It's giving me a sense of like, but not yearning for adventure, but saying like, I don't want that. I know who I am. I'm like a kind of homebody and I want to create a home. But maybe like her location in Austin is not really giving her that opportunity, you know? Cool. Let's go on to the next one. This is Townie. Oh, fun. It's almost giving me like pop rock guitar stuff. Extremely heavy guitar. You almost can't hear her voice. Almost sounds like she's trying to hide her voice, you know? Her voice sounds great. It's really free in this album. I'm not going to be what my daddy wants me to be. So yeah, there definitely is a teenage energy to this. A rebelliousness. God, I love how free her voice in this. She's just really kind of like letting it be relaxed and open, you know? Oh my God. So she wants that like teenage romance. Yeah, okay. I love how like rocky she can go. It can go like so like really like noise-based heavy stuff when she wants to be, you know? It's fun. That lyric is ridiculous. I love it. Yeah, it's really got that rebellious energy. It almost sounds like it's like a teenage school rock band, you know? Yeah, it really is giving me that vibe. It sounds quite kind of concept in that way, doesn't it? It's as if MITSKI was like, I want to create a song that sounds like it's being like recorded in a school gymnasium, you know? Like even with the slapback reverb and stuff, it sounds like a cheap PA, doesn't it? You know, like on her voice, I mean. And then like, the guitars are just like put up to max, so you can't hardly even hear the voice. It's really putting me in that place in terms of just the sound of it. And then of course, like, I'm not going to be what my daddy wants me to be. It sounds like you'd go to like your like 16-year-old prom or something, and like the emo band in the year would get up on the stage and perform their song, and they're like, you know, it's really giving me that energy. I want to fall as fast as a body from a balcony. It's so good. There's a party and we're all going and we're all growing up. Somebody's driving and he will be drinking and no one's going back. So really giving me teenage house party. All I want is love that falls as fast as a body from the balcony. And I want a kiss like my heart is hitting the ground. Oh, that is so good. Oh my God, that's so good. I'm holding my breath with a baseball bat. Oh, it's like holding your breath as if you're like waiting for the ball to hit, but she doesn't know what she's waiting for. It's so good. I'm not going to be what my daddy wants me to be. So there's Americana vibes. There's like, I love this idea of it being all party, because like, you know, you think of like parties and you think of like crazy parties and people falling off balconies and stuff, you know, it's like, that's kind of like the imagery, right? Like a super, super, super wild kind of teenage house party where it's all kind of going wrong, but she's comparing all those things going wrong to like metaphors of the heart and metaphors of what she wants from love, you know, which is so good. Like that lyric is fucking amazing, isn't it? Like, I want to love it falls as fast as a body from the balcony, and I want to kiss like my heart is hitting the ground. Perfection. I try putting out, but the boys keep coming on for more. So there's like a sense of like she's looking for love, and she's thinking that sex is going to solve that, but it's not. And all the boys want to do is fuck, and she's like, when's this going to actually change? When I'm actually going to be able to find something true? So it really is like a teenager who is looking for love in the context of this party, and I love how the sound of the song itself replicates that too. Amazing. Cool. Next song, this is First Love / Late Spring. Interesting. Much more of a slow pace from after the previous song. It does feel like she's much freer with her voice in this early stuff. It's almost like her later stuff, she's more like within the style. Oh, hello. So the sound of this album is certainly like acoustic spliced with kind of rock elements, you know. This one's definitely feeling a little bit more like throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks, vibe-wise. Yeah, definitely. Ooh, nice. Okay. Interesting, considering she was looking for that before. Maybe not with this person. A lot of jumping off of ledges. There's a real kind of like feeling of rebellion and like risk to it. What? Phone key change, oh my god. I've always loved her sense of like harmony. She's not afraid to use really kind of chromatic, slightly discordant and surprising chords, you know. Because that's gone back down again, isn't it? It's weird. Cool. I love all the weird backing synths and sound effects and stuff. It sounds like she's really kind of experimenting with the synthesizer as well as having the kind of heavy rock guitars and acoustic guitars and stuff. Yeah, that one seemed to have less of a specific goal in mind, that song. It felt a little bit more kind of freewheeling. Yeah, it certainly still has that kind of feeling of like recklessness. I think that's kind of quite key. Yeah, and it's interesting to hear her kind of like still discovering her style. I think her voice is still very Mitski, right? But I do think her singing style has like become much more like stylish, really. She's really kind of like got a specific way of singing nowadays that is very unique to her. Whereas this, like, I really like how she's much more open with her voice, but it almost seems like it's less considered, like she's just singing, you know? Whereas like the modern albums kind of feel like she's like settled within a singing style and has much more kind of personality in her, the way that she sings, you know, more than just the sound of her voice. Does that make sense? The black hole of the window where you sleep. Lately, I've been crying like a tall child, so please hurry, leave me, I can't breathe, please don't say you love me. Something ga hachi something resode. I don't know what that means, even though I do know some Japanese. I am very not good at kanji, and there are 2 kanji in there that I don't know, and that doesn't tell me what it is. One word for you and I would jump off this ledge I'm on, baby. Don't tell me don't so I can crawl back in. And I was so young when I behaved 25, yet now I find that I've grown into a tall child and I don't want to go home. It's really giving me a feeling of like a delayed adolescence. I kind of assumed this is what Puberty 2 was going to be about, but she's really touching upon this feeling of like, when I was a child, I behaved like I was an adult, and so now I am an adult, I feel like I'm kind of having this delayed childhood, you know? Maybe like something when she was young, maybe she kind of didn't have a stable family life, or maybe she struggled in like social situations or something kind of caused her to kind of grow up very quickly. And so I think that now as someone in her 20s, she's now kind of finding herself that she's never had that childhood and has actually never really properly matured, because she kind of didn't have that time to actually experience that teenagehood. And maybe that's where the Bury Me at Makeout Creek thing is coming from, because it's something that she never really had. Maybe she never had that kind of prototypical teenage romance and experience. And so this idea of Baking Me at Makeout Creek is like her constantly and forever yearning for that. Bury me there, because I will continuously pine for the rest of my life for that which I didn't have, you know? I love her. I feel like there's just so much to read into. Let's go on to the next one. This is Francis Forever. Right. Breaking the fourth wall. That drum sound is weird and thin, isn't it? It's strange. I'm enjoying this reverb that's coming in. Cool. Cool. I'm really enjoying the sense of experimentation in this. It definitely has like a freewheeling sense of like almost like young teenage kind of experimentation. And maybe that's like the angle that she's really going for in this whole album, is like, what music would I make if I were that teenager again, you know? Yeah, not my favourite though, like this song particularly. Like, I didn't quite feel like I had a strong sense of personality to it. I don't know what to do without you. I don't know where to put my hands. That's such a lyric that's so kind of specific but universal, isn't it? You know, this idea that you don't know where to put your hands is something that we all kind of, you know, have in these awkward situations. And it's very visceral because it really kind of takes you to those places where like you kind of don't know what to do with yourself, you know? I've been trying to lay my head down, but I'm writing this at 3 a.m, so I can't sleep. I don't need the world to see that I've been the best I can be, but I don't think I could stand to be where you don't see me. So somebody that she really is trying to get the appraisal of, like, she wants someone to be proud of her, specifically. She doesn't need the world to see everything that she can do, but she wants this one person to. So that, again, is kind of giving me a bit of a kind of, maybe it's to a parent, you know, like that kind of teenage thing. On sunny days I go out walking, I end up on a tree-lined street, I look up at the gaps of sunlight, I miss you more than anything. That's interesting. The looking up at the gaps of sunlight, that is, there's a word for it in Japanese that I can't remember, but there's like a specific word that like talks about the dappled sunlight through the trees and that feeling. And it really feels as if she's kind of coining in on that kind of part of maybe her culture and kind of bringing that into English, which, as we know, is quite a key part of her music. Like her kind of being stuck between two cultures is kind of comes up quite a lot within her theming, you know. As much as some of the songs aren't quite coming together in the same way as they do in later albums, the lyrics are really still telling me so much and are really great. Next song, this is I Don't Smoke. Really, really rock. Oh my God, what's going on? I don't smoke except for after I've hurt you. That guitar is like, Interesting that she's now got kind of a drum machine style thing going on. But you almost like can't hear it because the guitar is like so heavy. That almost kind of strikes me as a very youthful choice, you know, to make the guitar so big that you can't even hear the drums. Okay, wow. So it seems as if at this point she has fallen in love with someone and now she's like maybe very vulnerable, you know. Again, she's like hiding the lyrics in the production, which I think is quite an interesting choice because it kind of like maybe tells you that she's kind of trying to hide, you know. It's like a real sense of that kind of not brazen vulnerability, but writing something very vulnerable and then kind of covering it up, which I think really gives a more of a sense of this kind of teenage kind of character. I think there's some very specific sound design decisions that she's made in this to really kind of sell the story in that way. It's almost like being vulnerable by writing in your diary, but no one's going to see it. You know, it really is giving me that. I don't smoke except for when I'm missing you. To remember your mouth, how it tasted true. Oh, okay. So she only smokes to remind her of this person that she's not with because maybe they were a smoker. It's so, isn't it so teenage to be like, you know, I'm dating this person who's like probably older than me, smokes, probably rides a motorbike. It's very that, isn't it? You know, so if you need to be mean to me. I can take it and put it inside of me. Oh, wow. If your hands need to break more than the trinkets in your room, you can lean on my arm as you break my heart. Oh my God. So she's giving her heart over to this person to break it. If we're within this context of like her reliving a kind of teenage romance in her 20s, that is when you're a teenager, you just like fall for the first person that's right there, right? And you're giving your heart to them, but you don't, when you are a teenager, you're not aware of that, you know, you just do it. But for her, she's doing that, but as an adult, and so she's very aware of what she's doing, you know, which is something I can really relate to because I had a similar kind of situation when I was like in my mid-20s where I hadn't had that kind of relationship, and so I threw my heart into something that was like, it was always gonna end up badly, and it did, you know, and I kind of knew that, but I did it because I hadn't experienced the kind of teenage wild romance. you know? I'm really relating to that kind of idea. In what's left of when we swam under the moon, now the rest of my days are just waiting for when you come down and tell me I was meant for you, baby. Oh, so there's this, the moon, that's like, and the moon's love and the moon's light is something that she returns to, obviously, in My Love, Mine or Mine. Being with you makes the flame burn good when you to be mean. Yeah. So it's like, I love that it burns like a fire and is painful, you know. If your hands need to break more than trinkets in my room, you can lean on my arm as you break my heart. That is so clever. This person is like breaking all the stuff in their room. Like, and within that, she's telling us so much about this character of like someone she knows that she shouldn't be dating, like a bad person. So amazing. And like something I do, relate to. Also, I don't smoke, so I relate to that too. But I didn't smoke for the guy. Just saying. Okay, next song. This is Jobless Monday.
Can't afford to buy my food.
So I feel like we're being taken straight back into adult life. The reality of adult life.
There's a means he means to end.
A means he means to end.
Take me out, baby.
I like this synth, that's fun. It's quite crude. But it does feel like she's purposely chosen instruments and sounds that kind of have like a crudeness to them, you know. It's all part of the story, isn't it? Amazing. Again, more like kind of freewheeling. She's building up this picture. It's very like crude. Yeah, that is really actually quite a good word for it, I think. Yeah, very cool. I like the kind of like letting it all hang out feeling of that song. You know, the idea of being like Monday and you haven't got a job and just being like dressed in your like skankiest sweats, you know, like that's what the song sounds like to me, you know, especially at the end where it's just like, you know, really is giving me that energy. And it's like, yeah, like a lack of care, which is really cool. The thing is with MITSKI, she strikes me not as like a pop musician, but as a sound artist, if that makes sense. She knows how to pick sounds to create like a painting within each thing. You know, it's all about the texture. It's all about like, what's the emotion of the sound? Where is that sound coming from? And what place does it take my audience to, you know? Which I think is probably why at the beginning I didn't quite get it, but now I really appreciate it because it's like something deeper, you know? It's brilliant. She's brilliant. Yeah. It's a windy afternoon, can't afford to buy my food or the drive I need to go further than they said I'd go. He only loves me when there's a means he means to end. I love that reworking of the phrase, a means to an end, which is just like you're doing it because you want to get something out of it and purely it's just a means to an end, you know? And she's like, I am means to an end because like, he's just like, when I'm done with her, I'm done. You know, I will have got what I wanted out of it, you know? Doesn't matter where we be, but please, under the light of day, take me out. So she's like without a job, in her 20s, reliving a teenage romance that she knows is no good for her. And she's like, the only reason for me to leave the house is for you to take me out. It's like really bringing it straight back into her 20s, you know, when she's been living in this fantasy of teenagehood for much of the album. This song really is like, I'm an unemployed 25-year-old, you know, and it's like, I really do relate to like where this is, well, not right now in my life now, but as of like when I was a similar age, I went through a phase of like being jobless and being like, you know, not knowing what to do with my life and all that stuff as well. So it's just really kind of like, yeah, reflecting that time for me as well in so many ways. Next song, this is Drunk Walk Home. Okay, I like the drums.
I will retire to the Salton Sea.
This is really cool.
Starting to learn I may never be free.
Starting to learn I may never be free.
Fuck you.
Amazing. I love this like marching of an army in the background. It's so cool.
I sit on the curb 'cause it's the prettiest night. This dress for you.
Wow. Sounds like a crowd now. Wow. Nice. I love the straightforward feeling of this. It's like really like taking it to a place that's just like kind of desperate in its like heaviness, you know. It's like, yes, wow, so cool. Amazing. Oh my god, wow, that was powerful. It feels like there's like come to such a breaking point, and it's like the marching is like the impending doom, and then right at the end it's just like her mind caves in on itself and all she can do is scream, you know. It's really heavy, amazing, and like just the way that she screams through all those kind of like effects is just like really cool, like something that I haven't really heard on a song, and like really gives it such a kind of edge, doesn't it? It's like being trapped within your own mind and really reaching breaking point and having a breakdown, you know. It really is just like that heavy. And I think often a drunk walk home is where we have our kind of breakdown moment, you know. I think it's happened to a lot of us where rather than dealing with the problems, I just got really, really drunk and now I'm fucked on my own and I'm like really vulnerable and in trouble and I'm having a mental breakdown. It's like we've all been there. Oh god. I wasn't expecting to relive my messy 20s at this point in time, but here we are. I will retire to the Salton Sea at the age of 23, for I'm starting to learn that I may never be free. But though I may never be free, fuck you and your money, I'm tired of your money. And I sit on the curb because it's the prettiest night with no one else in sight. You know, I wore this dress for you, these killer heels for you. See, the dark, it moves with every breath of the breeze. Maybe she's like learning that she's never going to be free of bad people. She's never going to be free of love. Maybe like this person that she's been dating has been supporting her financially and she's like, actually, fuck it, I don't want that hanging over my head anymore. She went out, she wore a lovely dress, she wore killer heels for this person, and they left her alone apparently because she's sat alone on a curb in the middle of the night. She's appreciating the beauty in the night though, so maybe although it feels like a mental breakdown, there is hope in some way. I loved that actually. That was really cool. I'm not sure what my favourite of the album is yet. Make sure to stick around to the end because I will tell you what my favourite is. And also make sure to share your top 5 in the comments. That seems to be something that people have really got into recently and I love it. I love reading all through everybody's top 5. So yeah, let me know what your top 5 from the album are as well. Cool. Next song, this is I Will. Wow. She sounds a bit broken in this vocal, doesn't she? She sounds a bit hungover. Well, it's like a sense of like being subservient, isn't it? Yeah, wow. Oh. She doesn't sound happy though, does she? Maybe it's like almost like giving up on her sense of self just to exist for one other person. She's telling herself it's what she's always wanted, you know. Love it. Oh. Oh, I love how fragile her voice is. It's really, oh. Very cool. Love that. Yeah, I loved the feeling that she was evoking in that song. It really felt like a sense of like someone who's been totally broken down. She sounds like shell-shocked in that song, doesn't she? Like just the way that she's singing and the way she's saying, I will wash your hair and I will do all this subservient stuff for you because this is all I've ever wanted. It's like she's post-mental breakdown and all she can do is just kind of like live within this like broken kind of shell and just be on autopilot, you know. It's like someone who's been taken down to their like lowest point of self-esteem and is like, I'm gonna give up on my sense of self for you. It's really dark but so brilliantly performed. Like her voice in this, like even more than the others, like paints a picture, you know, and just like brilliantly written. Yeah, like just sounds unhinged. Like I love it. Even like singing do 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 do, you know, it's like do 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 do. I'm fine. There's nothing behind the eyes, you know. It's really that. I will take good care of you. I will wash your hair at night, dry off with care. I will see your body bare, and still I will live here. So stay with me, hold my hand. There's no need to be brave. And all the quiet nights you bear, seal them up with care. I feel like out of context, these lyrics sound really like caring and lovely and gorgeous, but the song is just not that, is it? You know what I mean? All I ever wanted, all I want is always you. It's always you. Hold my hand. There's no need to be brave. And while you sleep, I'll be scared. So by the time you wake, I'll be brave. Oh my God. It's like I'm lying beside you in bed and I'm scared of you. And I'll get all that out of my system so that in the morning when you wake, I'll be that perfect person for you. It's like putting on a facade and then at night when you're asleep, letting it go, you know? It's like, oh God, it's really dark. But I feel like if you were to just read the lyrics, you wouldn't necessarily get that. You know, it's very, very clever in that kind of duality. Very cool. Let's go on to the penultimate song. This is Carry Me Out. Ooh, I like the sounds. Warm and kind of settled and yeah. This is really warm and gorgeous, like it's almost like maybe the romance is dead and she's just like, I have no energy left to take myself out. Oh yeah, the organ is almost giving me funeral, like yeah, amazing. Nice. This is really just like an exciting listen. I love the slow development in it. On previous songs, she just smacks you in the face immediately with the kind of heaviness. This one has so much more of a smoothness to it, like, and it really shows that like those heavy guitars that were drowning out the rest of the songs earlier on were really intentional, and maybe were to like replicate like her desire for romance, drowning out all sense, you know. Yeah, so there is a clarity in this song, and I think that is very much on purpose. I loved that. That was really just like a satisfying kind of climactic moment. Really, like the last few songs, particularly Drunk Walk Home, I Will and Carry Me Out, have really given me, I just love it. I really, I love the story that she's painting, which is really unhinged, and yeah, I love it. At night on the rooftop, I untie my hair and watch from my plastic chair as my dark hair unleashes the night. I say your name in hopes that you'll hear it in the stars and carry me out. Gorgeous. Beautiful imagery. It's very interesting that she's like, I let my hair down and the darkness kind of comes out. Maybe there's a sense of relinquishing the darkness. Maybe there's a sense of like her dark hair representing like her culture, you know, things that are, you know, genetic to her that she can't kind of escape, letting darkness out through that. I think is quite interesting imagery. And she's sat, but I do think that it's poignant that she's laying it down, she's letting it out. There's the scent of flowers, which kind of like bring about this sense of a funeral. Maybe the love is dead, and that's the flowers, you know. And obviously she's apart from them because she's saying their name into the stars. They lead me down the Styx, so the river Styx. Again, the river of death, taking you from the land of the living to the land of the dead. So black it shines, and so the river is as black as the shine in her hair, you know, all this kind of, and carry me out. Yeah, so it feels like a sense of, yeah, this song sounds like a funeral. It sounds like a funeral. Carrying a body down the aisle at a funeral. It's got the organ. It really kind of is giving me like, this romance is dead and I'm letting go. Maybe she's trying to let go. Maybe her tying up her hair was like a symbol of like, you know, holding herself back, and maybe letting it down is like her attempts to make herself a new person. You know, that's what it's giving me. Very clever, brilliant imagery, love it. Before we go on to the final song, this is a quick shout out to my patrons. So all these guys support me over on Patreon in the paid tiers. Thank you so much, everybody who does support me on Patreon. You make it possible for me to live my life as a creative person, and it is amazing. Yeah. If you want to join in on Patreon, you can get a number of benefits, including getting my videos earlier than everybody else and getting them uncut, so you can watch my full reactions to each song without any cuts in any of the songs. You can also request specific song reactions from me, or artist reactions, or full albums from me on the top tier. And there's also loads of bonus videos that go up on the channel, and I'm doing live streams, and soon I'm launching a podcast, and there'll be podcast benefits on there too. So there's loads of stuff going on Patreon, and it's a lovely community of people. There's a really nice bunch of people on there who are all chatting in the Discord as well. So yeah, if you want to get involved, you can either join on the free tier and be part of the community, or you can head up into the one of the paid tiers and get the benefits there. Links in the description. Okay, let's go on to the final song. This is Last Words of a Shooting Star. I love all the night imagery, the night sky imagery. It's really cool. Ooh. What's that hiss? Sounds like the sea or something.
All of this turbulence wasn't forecasted.
Almost sounds like she's on a boat, doesn't it? Like, rocking.
They'll think of me kindly when they come for my things. It's like a blood sniffing shot.
Whoa.
I was going to live. Learn from movies how love ought to be. And did you know the Liberty Bell?
Interesting reverb. It sounds almost like a demo. Like there's real kind of like a rough energy to this song.
I was told to believe.
Yeah.
Was wanted to die clean and pretty, but I couldn't have changed anyways.
Yeah. Wow. Something about leaving her room, maybe leaving her teenage bedroom behind. That's kind of what that's giving me, like. Yeah, it almost feels like the star has imploded. She's leaving behind that kind of attachment to teenage life, you know. Yeah, I like how demo-y and rough that is. It kind of, I wonder kind of what that is as part of the album. I don't know, but like, it's cool. It definitely fits, you know. All of this turbulence wasn't forecasted. Apologies from the intercom, and I am relieved that I left my room tidy. So it's almost like she's on a plane and she's like, well, at least I left my room tidy if I'm going to die, you know. They'll think of me kindly when they come for my things. They'll never know how I stared at the dark in that room with no thoughts like a blood-sniffing shark. Oof. And while my dreams made music in the night, carefully I was going to live. You wouldn't leave till we loved in the morning. You learned from movies how love ought to be. And you'd say, love me, and look in my eyes. But I know through mine you were looking in yours. Wow. Did you know the Liberty Bell is a replica? Silently housed in its original walls, and while its dreams played music in the night, quietly it was told to believe. So she's kind of comparing herself to this replica of the Liberty Bell. Like, you will dream of being a real person, but you never will be, you know, whilst you're enclosed by this person that you're in love with, whilst you're enclosed by the housing of the bell, you know. I always wanted to die clean and pretty, but I'd be too busy on working days. So I'm relieved that the turbulence wasn't forecasted. I couldn't have changed anyway. I'm relieved that I left my room tidy. Goodbye. So it's almost like this character, the shooting star, is her teenage character. It's the last words of this teenage character before they burn out for good and she finally moves on. You know, that's kind of what it's giving me. And she's saying, I could never be who I wanted to be. I could never get what I wanted from you because you were only looking for yourself. You know, you looked in my eyes and saw yourself reflected in them. I became exactly what you wanted, and you never became what I wanted. It was completely unjust. And I think at this point she's learned that like that relationship was bound to end in destruction, was going to end like badly, and so she's putting it to bed. She's burying it at the Makeout Creek where it belongs, and she's leaving it behind. You know, she's leaving behind the feeling of like teenage adolescent romance that was never going to last, you know, and she's growing up and moving on. Amazing. At like one of her earlier albums, you know, like to be able to like just be such a pure artist with her sound. It's just incredible. And the way that she tells a story, not only through the lyrics, but how the songs sound, how the album sounds, is just next level. In the earlier parts of the album, it's really rebellious, really teenage, really like her voice is lost in the music. Like it's almost like you pulled your sleeves down and you're like making yourself smaller, which is something that a teenager would do, you know, by hiding your voice in the music. And all those kinds of things really add up to this character who is like in their 20s, but like almost like reliving a youthful romance because they never had it. And it's kind of having this like delayed adolescence. There's just so many levels to it. And I love that it all references the title of the album. And although at the beginning it's like, bury me at Makeout Creek, it makes you think, I want to be buried there because I want to be a teenager forever. When you realize at the end that she's killing off that teenager kind of part of her, it's like me, the person who's saying bury me at Makeout Creek, is going to be left behind and she's going to move on. You know, it's just genius. My favorite song on the album has got to be Carry Me Out, because that one just like, it felt like the sound shifted in a way that was very, very purposeful. And I not only really enjoyed the sound of that song, but also it really recontextualized all the previous songs. The sound of those songs and the reason they were jagged and rocky and heavy and hidden and muddy was for a reason. You know, it was so we could have this song, Carry Me Out, which had clarity. You know, the imagery within it was really beautiful as well. Just really, 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 really good. I'm so excited to listen to Puberty 2 now. I feel like maybe Puberty 2 is like a similar kind of, the name of that really gives me that, but it'd be interesting to see what the album is actually about. Make sure to leave what your top 5 songs are in the comments below. I'll be reading through them on Monday. If you want to check out my reaction to The Land Is Inhospitable and So Are We, it is here. And if you want to check out my reaction to Be the Cowboy, it is here.